So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is, it's because I have two really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick. And plus, I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Bulumaka, my name is Rio, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 p.m. to 7. Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. In tonight's bulletin, sedition suspects apprehended in Vanuatu. Top executives urged to be more proactive about issues related to the education system. And prolonged dry spell to affect some services in areas feeling the brunt of the El Nino effect. More arrests have been made in relation to the ongoing sedition-related offences. Director Intelligence and Investigations ACP Henry Brown revealed to FBC News that some suspects had fled to the Northern Division when their activities in the West were exposed. He says the men were apprehended in Vanuatu and have been brought back to the West for questioning. He says the focus of investigations remains in the region of Nandronga and Ra. Police continue to look for the few remaining suspects in the matter. The Education Ministry wants top executives to highlight any concerns they may have about the education system. At a forum for top executives of the Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation, Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy asked why they did not openly talk about concerns in the education sector. Akusita Tale has more.
Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy turned the spotlight on top executives, asking what their stand is on a proposal by heads of schools not to make mathematics a compulsory subject.
What do you think about having mathematics as a compulsory vis-a-vis the current discourse that we're having? The opponents are arguing that year 12 level mathematics is not needed as it is too advanced. While I agree,
Reddy says there has been a lot of discussions about the proposal in the social media and newspapers' letters to the editor columns. He says mathematics should remain compulsory as it's designed to develop and prepare a student for analytical and logical thinking.
we want to have mathematics compulsory up to year 12 and 13 so that even though they may not need that integration, calculus, etc. for day-to-day activity, but that interrogation by them to that particular subject matter will allow them to develop the analytical and logical thinking skills.
Reddy also expressed concern about poor language proficiency amongst graduates.
You need to put your, voice your concerns and put points openly. You need to contribute to the debate, support our efforts to raise the standard of English amongst our teachers and students so that we churn out quality graduates who will come and feed you and work under you and contribute to your business.
Reddy says the ministry has found that many employees are now pursuing part-time studies and employers need to deal with employees in such cases to ensure there is a balance between work and studies. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
The Court of Appeal has dismissed an appeal by the Fiji Times against the judgment of the High Court, which convicted the Fiji Times for the offence of contempt of scandalizing the court. Now, the High Court found the Fiji Times guilty of contempt of scandalizing the court in October 2012. The High Court subsequently imposed a fine of $300,000 against the Fiji Times, a fine of $10,000 against the former publisher, and a 6-month imprisonment term suspended for 2 years against the editor-in-chief. The Court of Appeal upheld the convictions imposed by the High Court and additionally ordered the Fiji Times to pay costs of the appeal to the state in the sum of $3,000. The prolonged dry spell will affect some services in areas feeling the brunt of the El Nino effect. The western and northern divisions, as well as the maritime islands, are not receiving sufficient rain to break extremely dry conditions. Akusita Tale reports.
While agriculture and water supply in the drought-affected areas struggling due to the lack of rain, experts forecast in coming months the effects will be more widespread. However, the National Disaster Management Office, or NDMO, is adamant they still have the capacity and funds to meet the situation.
The funds that we have in government that we can use is the Prime Minister's Rehab and Relief Fund. They are specifically for emergency purposes and also during disaster. But this is the time that we use that fund. If we really need to go overboard, then we may have to request for funding assistance from outside.
It's possible that schools, health centers and hospitals may not have water, which could cause a range of health issues. The NDMO will closely work together with relevant stakeholders and communities to meet the situation in case it gets worse in the coming months.
The last thing for us to do here in Fiji is to do a declaration. A declaration means that we have a disaster, it is out of hand, government cannot do anything about it, or maybe little as it is beyond its control, and then we declare a state of natural disaster.
The NDMO has confirmed more than 33,000 residents in the west are affected, while more than 1,000 residents are affected in the north. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
A 27-year-old man died in a road accident in Suva last night. The deceased was driving a vehicle that collided with an oncoming vehicle on Edinburgh Drive around 10:30 p.m. The victim was rushed to the CWM hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. No one else was injured in the accident. Now, over 70% of the chiefly titles in the province of Lao are still vacant. This issue was highlighted by the Lao Provincial Council meeting chairman Elisoni Taomba in Suva this week. Ali Kimbia has more.
The high number of vacant chiefly titles in Lao has raised a lot of concern and has left a major dent in chiefly leadership of the various islands in the Lao group. The Lao Provincial Council is now working with the Ministry of Itoke Affairs to fill these titles as soon as possible.
Those who are supposed to be in their positions are invigilable, but the younger brothers or the younger ones are in the island and the other ones running the Ponua.
Taomba says this has sometimes hindered development opportunities for the villagers, and the onus is on them to discuss and solve any chiefly title disputes.
The solution would be for the household to try and solve that themselves in the traditional manner, for them themselves to discuss it, and they present the normal presentations to the elders outside the islands.
Speaking at the Lao Provincial Council meeting, Taomba said if the chiefly titles are occupied, then there will be no conflict of decision-making in the various districts of the Lao group. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
Coming up, Fijian designers and models get a break into LA Fashion Week.
Number 2 yang nasir.
Welcome back. You're with FBC News. An immigration detainee who claimed he was an Indigenous Australian, not someone from Fiji, and overstayed his visa has been deported. The man calling himself Eddie David had been held in the detention centre in Perth since June. He initially claimed he was born on Murray Island in the Torres Strait in 1976. David later said he was from somewhere in the region, but was not sure where because his father died when he was young, his mother was absent, and he was illiterate and an alcoholic. However, elders from the Torres Strait said they had never heard of him and wanted to know his lineage. The Department of Immigration and Border Protection was certain he was in fact a Fijian named Rene Rikash Singh, who arrived in Australia in early 1998. It used fingerprint analysis and facial comparison in its investigation. A department spokesman confirmed a Fijian national had been removed from Australia. The Ministry of Agriculture has utilised more than half of the $65 million budget allocated to the ministry in the 2015 budget. Director Animal Health and Production, Tomasi Tuinambuna, says more funds from the allocation are expected to be utilised during the rest of the financial year. Savara Tambua has the details.
The ministry's livestock division was allocated $170,000 for the sheep breeding program, while the pig and beef breeding programs were allocated $150,000 respectively. More than 50% of the funds for these programs have been utilized.
Why we need to strengthen the current projects, simply because we have a lot of areas that we think needs addressing. I'm quite confident that if we support the current programs rather than having to look into other areas, just work on the basic areas, we should be able to achieve what Fiji requires from the allocated budget.
Another program that benefited in the 2015 budget is Navuso Agriculture Training Center in Navuso. It was also allocated $350,000.
The crop section, the animal section, like beef and piggery, and also meat bird and layer. And we are starting with goat and aquaculture too, which that is where we channel a lot of fund granted from the government.
Food security, employment, income generation, expansion of our export base and development of the rural economy are expected to be focus of the ministry in 2016, and the 2016 budget that will be presented next month is expected to address these issues. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
Investigations into the possible collusion of Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority officers and owners of some second-hand car dealers will be finalized next week. Chief Executive Chitoko Tikolevu says the investigations have concluded and now the authority is finalizing its decision in regard to further action. Tikolevu had earlier told FBC News that they have in the past suspended the trading licenses of car dealers who have been found involved in fraudulent activities. Now, FBC News understands the allegations of corruption in which some custom officers were given free cars in exchange for reduced customs clearances. Minister for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation Rosie Akbar says the initiative to establish a helpline for women is still in its planning stages. The helpline would allow women to voice their concerns in situations. Akbar says sometimes it is difficult for women to report matters such as domestic violence, abuse and other issues. She says in such cases the helpline will be of good use.
We are also encouraging women to use the child helpline now to report on cases which will be referred to the various agencies that look into it. So till the time we have a helpline, we are encouraging women to use 1325 to report on cases, and we will look into that.
Now, the helpline is expected to be online from early next year. The Suva High Court has sentenced Josateki Tambua to life imprisonment for the attempted murder of his de facto partner. Judge Justice Prianta Fernando has also ordered a permanent domestic violence restraining order for the protection of the victim. The court heard that 36-year-old Tambua had stabbed his former partner on the chest, causing serious injuries after an argument in October 2013. Tambua has a non-parole period of 8 years. Well, for the first time, Fiji Fashion Week has been given the opportunity to showcase their talents at the Los Angeles Fashion Week this month. This is another milestone to market themselves in the international markets.
Fiji fashion models and designers will participate in a fashion and trade show during the 4-day event next week.
The one thing that we do hope is to test our product. It always takes a really long time to actually get into a big market like the US. And so for me, it's an experiment to see what people are looking for in Pacific design.
Participate in the LA Fashion Week is a tremendous major step for us designers. I think with most of it, I can only speak for myself, but you dream that one day that your clothes can be showcased on a catwalk on an international platform.
The best 12 designers of Fiji Fashion Week in the last 8 years are expected to attend. To cover the cost of attending the show, Fiji Fashion Week has launched a Crown project to raise funds.
Especially coming from an exotic destination like Fiji, it's a huge opportunity for us to sell Fiji made, and sell the Fijian brand. That came at a price, and that price was $20,000 US to participate in the actual show itself.
The models will receive $100 US for the ramp.
Really excited. It's a great opportunity because we never know what's going to happen there when we're there.
Fashion Week will begin on the 8th to the 11th of October and runs for the 4 days. Shriti Prasad, FBC News.
Stay tuned. Coming up in sports, Vodafone Flying Fijians blockbusting centre Levani Botia pleased with the team's performance. And Vodafone Flying Fijians prop Manasa Saulo has been cited for an alleged act of foul play.
छू 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 हे नमस्ते फीजी। आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची इट्स हॉट।
Welcome to FBC Sports. Vodafone Flying Fijians blockbusting centre Levani Botia had his first taste of Rugby World Cup yesterday in the 23-13 loss to Wales. Although Fiji's third straight defeat was a bittersweet pill to swallow, the France-based midfielder is more than satisfied with how the team has fared against the England, Australia and Wales. Chalendo Dakadaka reports.
The reports and updates of the Rugby World Cup is proudly presented by Vodafone, Power to You, and Airports Fiji Limited, creating new experiences, Fiji's gateway to the world. In association with FMF, the right choice. Total Exilium New Generation, the fuel that cleans your engine kilometer after kilometer. Sun Insurance, for Fijians by Fijians. Supported by Fiji Airways, Deluxe, Island Chill, Comfort Home Furnishing, Rooster Chicken, Legal Aid, Land Transport Authority and Central Rentals.
Find the small gaps, and they are small right now. They look to the short side.
Levani Botia had a point to prove in the match against Wales after missing out on selection in Fiji's 2 opening World Cup games. The rugged centre was a menace in defence and at the breakdown, and whenever he had the chance, was a thorn in the Welsh defence.
I'm really proud that I work with the boys today, so I'm happy for my game today.
Botia admitted mistakes at crucial times proved costly, and this allowed Wales to get away with the win.
We have a lot of mistakes, so that we can improve it. I think I've been proud of the boys too, so they've been work hard. But I think they have some small mistake. But I think we'll work together, we'll see our mistakes, put our hands together, then we keep going forward.
Judging from Botia's performance yesterday, it will be hard to overlook the Naitasiri hitman in the team's final match against Uruguay next Wednesday. Chalendo Takataka, FBC Sports.
Vodafone Flying Fijians prop Manasa Saulo has been cited for an alleged act of foul play during the Rugby World Cup match against Wales yesterday. The offence is related to stamping or trampling. If found guilty and charged, Saulu will not only miss Fiji's last pool game against Uruguay next week, but will also be the third player to be suspended after Domenico Wanganiburotu and Nemani Nandolo. Saulu's fate will be determined in a hearing on Monday. Fiji-born New Zealand winger Waisake Naholo scored the quickest try yet in the World Cup as the defending champions beat Georgia 43-10 to secure a quarter-final spot. Naholo dotted down after only 73 seconds of play in an error-strewn match to help the All Blacks secure a third bonus point.
To get underneath and win the ball back.
Quickly into the All Black line-out. And here is Waisake Naholo, the man who's come back from that broken leg, looking to make a big start. Oh, he's going to score! Waisake Naholo almost broke through there, nudged ahead by Ciclari, the fullback, and the referee says play on, and Georgia are going to score! All Blacks probing inside the 22. Ben Smith quickly on to Conrad Smith, to Reid, to Savia, in. Carter is waiting quickly on to Sonny Bill Williams, floats it wide, and Savia's in for a second. On to Reid now. Unmarked players on the right. McCaw holds it up, and Dane Coles is in. Well, the Georgians trying to defend their line, but this time to no avail. Kano to Fbctv now. Big pass out wide, and this time Savia is in for his third. Now Carter has it on to Fbctv, spots a gap. Malachi Fbctv, he's going to go all the way. Brilliant try.
In tomorrow's games, Japan takes on Samoa at 1:30 a.m. South Africa battles Scotland at 3:45 a.m. and England faces Australia at 7 a.m. in the deciding match in Pool A. You can watch all these games on Fbctv. A 14-man Nandronga side scored 6 tries to beat Northland 47-15 and retain the HFC Bank Fairbrother Trophy this afternoon. Captain Nemani Nangusa scored a hat-trick of tries with centre Choeli Lutumailangi adding 2 tries of his own in the one-sided affair.
It's the big pass for Sekonaya Kalau, and now for Eramasi Rondro. Eramasi Rondro knows his way to the try line. It up there for Nandronga, right in centre field, out from Navori, and then for Nangusa. And Nangusa runs straight, and Nangusa pit in Daveta, and offload was good, and Nandronga is away, Rondro. Infield pass for Nangusa. Nangusa breaks the last tackle. Nemani Nangusa, well, he scored a try on 26, and now he scored a try on 28. Ball comes back, and the toe there from Nandronga, and who gets up to that? It's Choeli Lutumalangi. His soccer skills evades him, but it's Nemani Nangusa looking for a hat-trick, and he climbed that through there. He picked it up well.
Nandronga will defend the Fairbrother Trophy against Namosi next weekend. Well, Lambasa thumped Rewa 3-0 at home in Subrel Park this afternoon in the opening round of the Courts Inter-District Championship. Taione Kerevanua and Ilisoni Longaiva were the scorers for the Bamasinga Lions, while Rewa's Lorimandao netted an own goal. Earlier today, defending champion Suva played to a 2-all draw against Super Premium newcomers Draketi. Tomorrow, the tournament shifts to Prince Charles Park, where Ba meets Nandronga at 2 p.m, followed by the clash between Nandi and Lotoka at 4 p.m. It was fine apart from brief showers over the eastern and interior parts of the larger islands. A trough of low pressure lies over Kiribati and extends towards the northern Cooks. Taking a look at the temperature, Suva and Savu recorded 26 degrees, Nandi was on 27, while Lotoka on 28 degrees. Par recorded 30 degrees and Lambasa hit a high of 31 degrees. For tomorrow, fine apart from brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the main islands. The outlook for Monday, and no major changes are expected. Our headlines once again. Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy has questioned why top executives have not highlighted their concerns about the education system. Police have made more arrests in relation to the ongoing sedition-related offences, and a 27-year-old man died when his car collided with an oncoming vehicle in Suva last night. Onto the poll question. This week we ask, are there enough litter bins in public places? Visit our FBC website to take part. You can also send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply #FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini.